1 year ago, I completely bombed my fundraising director's speech and thought it was the end of the world. Because of that moment, I can now stand up here and tell you guys that mistakes like that truly aren't the end-all be-all. In fact, I, Elena Chico, am here today to run for Executive Vice President. With leadership experience in both Chi Omega and REO, I'm confident that my diverse perspective can help APSA adjust to the current needs of our future GBMer base. All of my plans for next year can be so much to cover, so I've narrowed it down to 3 topics: my APSA origin story, FTS, and E squared. So now that I've gone over my main points, I'll start by talking about what drew me to APSA. During my high school years, I went to a predominantly Asian school in the Bay Area. So from first impressions, APSA looked like it would just be like high school 2.0, you know? And I just didn't really feel a need to join APSA at the beginning of my freshman year. However, one day, when I was studying alone in the Apita Center, I found myself surrounded by many Asian girls. We talked a lot about everything and anything, and eventually they asked if I could go to GBM. Even though I wasn't planning on joining APSA, that just direct contact with those people made me decide to go. I ended up going to GBM, and I truly got to appreciate the welcoming and accepting community that I now know as APSA. Now, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. 2 of the girls in that group actually were Nora and Alize. Who knew that them coming up to me on that very day would lead to me now running for Executive VP. Now, enough about my APSA origin story. Let's talk about how to improve FTS while still keeping its important traditions in mind. Everyone knows that sponsorship is a monumental aspect of funding FTS. But if you ask any board members if they've done their sponsorship runs, you probably haven't. And that isn't their fault. Sponsorship runs are designed in a way that is simply just tedious. It takes time away from their bylaws and makes it hard to be prioritized. My solution is to adjust how sponsorship runs are done by first ensuring we have an updated list of businesses, then sending mass emails to prospective sponsors using MailChimp. Then there'll be a sponsorship committee designated to follow up individually with each prospective sponsor that replies to the original email sent out. This way, the sponsorship committee can focus their time and efforts into having quality conversations with prospective sponsors, and board members will not be at a higher risk of burnout. Moving on, I want to focus on shifting FTS marketing to be more intentional, while also still keeping the fun tradition that makes FTS unique. One way I would like to do so is by allocating some of the physical items we get from sponsors to create a potential story reposting contest. This way we can rely on others for exposure rather than just our board members. I'm confident this could work as we try this method out with Night Market, which you guys know is really successful. So to summarize, I would want to shift FTS's planning, external outreach, and marketing to be more intentional and innovative while still maintaining its really nice traditions. But what would FTS be without APSA's GBMers and next board? Let's talk about how it would work to retain more GBMers using E squared and the Shadows program. As the general student population starts to shift towards more professional orgs like ABA or AMA, our next board has to adapt to the new target membership base. One idea I discussed with other top 4 candidates is combining the Shadows program and E squared so that we can keep our social and political cultural pillars while still keeping the professional desires of the next GBMers. The Shadows program and E squared will be marketing as an APSA intern program with 2 cycles throughout the academic year. This would mean GBMers get a chance to have hands-on experience from day 1 while still receiving support from me and my executive assistant at E squared meetings. Additionally, this program could lead to less burnout for the board members as there'll be more hands on deck. In all, it's so important to revamp these programs and fit the needs of our membership base while still maintaining its important traditions. So let's quickly go over everything I just discussed with you all. First, I shared a little bit about myself and why I joined APSA in the first place. Afterwards, I delved into how I'd potentially improve FTS's planning, marketing, etc. Then I mentioned how I would innovate E squared and the Shadows program to better fit the needs of our professional GBMers. I hope you all will keep my speech in mind and hopefully feel inspired to look at your potential bylaws and think about what you could do to innovate your role in this organization. Now just imagine being able to take all of these lovely traditions APSA had and being able to build on them while still evolving to fit each year's new membership needs. This is something we can achieve if you all grant me the privilege of being your executive vice president for next year.